Alright, here we go. We're starting the video and we are getting ready for the podcast.
Ready?
In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Always weird. We love it. Dude, it's funny. I did a podcast with one of my coaches, Top Dog guy. He does a lot of, over 250,000 real estate agents that this organization coaches. So he was on here and we did that and he goes, whoa. You guys do that on every show? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's terrible. He tells me. I was like, all right,
Opening
cool.
line.
Opening line. It's just our gimmick, right? It's everybody has a thing. All right. So before we get into our guest for today, I want to make sure I give everybody their shout out. So we got a bunch of new friends for the Facebook page and Instagram. So we got Karim. If I butcher your last name, I apologize because some of you guys' names are like my first name. It's just difficult. So apology ahead of time. So we got Karim Seperi. We got Axel Santos. We got Amber Gruer. Natalia Herrera. Israel Montaya. We got Bander Nahali. We got Sierra Molina. Iram Balak. We got Ernesto Gastelum. By the way, Ernesto is the owner of Barrio Dogs in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know Ernesto well.
You know Ernesto well?
Yes.
Sweet. So we're gonna do a podcast with him at his place too, so really soon. So thanks for that hookup, Mr. Bayon. We got Ali Armikasin. I think that's how I say his name. Sylvia Vasquez, Deborah C, Jeffrey Green, and Nicole Piranio. And then we have some congrats out for sold properties, transactions being closed, because we love to give you guys props when you guys do work. Gabe Mendez on the sales, 2 closed since the last time we've been on. Two closings,
Two
right?
of them.
2 of them. And then Maria Romero is another closing. So congratulations, guys. Keep up the hard work. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here, to give you guys some motivation and give you guys some stories of people who are out there crushing it, doing the thing, and making it happen. So let's get on to our guest today. So I met Mr. Anthony Ramirez, who's our guest today, at his flip. He's so you guys are familiar with Zabi and Jose with Creative House Productions and Visionary Media Group, and they came out and did a killer video promo for the property that Mr. Anthony Ramirez flipped, and that's where we got to meet you. Oh my God, it was amazing, right? So that's where I ended up meeting Anthony. We kind of sat down. He gave us the walkthrough of the entire place, told us his history about, how this property got going. I mean, the place is amazing, and I invited him to come to the show, and he graciously accepted, and now it's here. By the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Just want to throw it out there.
Thank you. I'm a little to drink now.
And a little to drink now, right? I got some whiskey over here.
No,
ready,
I'm good. I turned 21 yesterday, so
there
I appreciate that.
All right, well, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
So, we got a lot of people who, well, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do? And
I'm 5'10". I love the color blue. Long walks on the beach. Drive cars fast.
Swipe right?
No, negative. No, I'm just kind of a guy that's always behind the scenes. I like being the Wizard of Oz and just make things happen.
Yeah, a guy behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Dude, so as humble as you are, I want to dig a little deeper to see who, where does he came from? Because there are people in this industry who are just crushing it, who've been in either loans or have been doing flips, and they're doing a really good job. And I feel like if I can get them on the show, and if I can get them to dig deep to where they came from, what struggles they had, and where they're how they got to where they are, it helps our listeners kind of the ones that are struggling or just getting started, or even the ones that find themselves in a rut every once in a while, kind of give them that little bit of push.
Ooh.
So tell me a little bit, what did you do?
So I'm originally from San Jose, so Northern California. I was I'm born and raised up there, but during the Silicon Valley times, the Bay Area became very expensive in the 1990s. I was young. All my friends were getting into the tech business. I decided to take a different route and join the Army. Did that for a while. I was an infantry guy, and that I think that experience really changed my life. Coming from the neighborhood I came in, I actually lived in a good part of San Jose, but my high school was in a shitty part. So my friends were pretty shitty friends. I just lived in a nice house. Except a few of my friends, pretty good guys. Long story short, I think that time frame in my life really changed everything. Learning self-discipline, taking care of yourself, those kind of things, taking responsibility. And so right when I moved to San Diego, I ended up picking up, actually I moved in with a good best friend of mine, birthday was this week also. And at like 26 years old, I bought a fourplex by San Diego State.
Nice.
Fixed it up, made that thing look super good, jacked my rents up, lived there for free, went to college, got married. That was my first investment. I bought that thing for $325 and I sold it for 1.1 in like 5 years.
That's a hell of a ride.
Right? So I had bought other properties too. But that was actually before I got into lending.
So how does a 26-year-old find the nerve, first of all, or the will or the ambition, straight out the military? Were you out of the military at that point?
I was in the reserves at that time.
At the reserves at that time. So what popped in your head? How do what are you thinking at that point that says, you know what, I should buy a fourplex?
Random. So I was in a class and I had a financial teacher that was personal finance, right? And we're talking about real estate. This is like the year 1999, 2000. It's dating me right now. So when she explained how monthly payments versus rent, at some point rents are higher than the payment. Just do some math. I was living with my buddy at the time, and he had a 2-story duplex, and he was renting out all the rooms next door to students, and I was living with him on his side. And I had asked him, like, hey, how much are your payments in this place? And he told me, he's like, oh, $1,500, whatever it was at the time. And I started doing the math. I'm like, wait a minute. Dude, you live here for free. This is bullshit. And I'm paying the utilities,
Yeah.
So afterwards, I started looking at things like that. And that's when I got into the unit, because he got married, so I had to move out. And when I was leaving, did the same exact thing. So I was like 3 blocks over, found a house, figured out how much the rents were, how much the payments were, and brought basically like a business proposal to my mom. I was like, hey, I think I want to do this. And she says, okay, makes sense. And so I bought it.
Number one.
It just started doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it just made mathematical sense. And kicked the tenants out one by one, fixed them up, rented them for more, did the next one. And yeah.
So you did the first one. First one, mom helped out, right? So
yeah.
I mean,
I paid them back in 6 months, by the way, for the down payment.
Well, you better. You made 1.3, 1.2 on it. So.
It was yeah.
So yeah, no, that's definitely a plus. But okay, so that's the first one. When you start getting ready to move on to another deal, you start, there's a hiccup. I'm assuming you bought it around 2000. So there's a hot market going on at that time.
Ironically, it wasn't necessarily hot. It was busy. So there was a lot of people looking at property, but the values weren't skyrocketing as they were until maybe like 2003, 2004. Then it started getting kind of sketchy. Like, like people were just buying things they shouldn't have been buying.
Yeah.
Because I got into lending in 2004, in the beginning of 2004.
All right, so you're not super crushing it at that time yet, right?
Crazy. You talking about for real estate wise or lending wise?
Either one. I mean, life wise.
So funny story. So when I got into lending, I got lucky. I swear to God, I got lucky. I got with a group of guys that were already dominating in the business, legends in the business, literally. I didn't know that at the time. I just happened to go in there and they just liked me and they said, hey,
come on board.
Come on board is what we're going to do. My first year, retail, I'm talking about purchase money business, I funded like 18 million. Like my first year. The next year was like 25 mil, just shy of 25 mil. Then the next year was like 31 or something. And then the market went to shit, like 2007. I funded like another 35 million. So I was killing myself. My average loan amount went down to like 215 or something. But we're closing like 10, 15 loans a month with one assistant. I thought it was normal. I didn't know any different. I was just working. Just working with my guys, just working.
Okay, describe what working means.
We just pick up the phone, go meet with agents, do, visit open houses, provide them marketing assistance, help, guidance, lead follow-up, help them lead generate, different ways that we were doing it back then. Getting, like, people weren't doing government loans, so I dove into the government loans and down payment assistance loans and doing condo conversions. And, it was just Didn't know any different. Just military work ethic. Just go.
Just go.
Just go.
So in other words, you walked into an office and they gave you basically standard operating procedures, right? So this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Start doing it.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, here's what you're going to do. Here's how you go out. This is how you shake hands, how you kiss babies, blah, blah, blah. Go.
When did you realize that that's not the normal transition for people?
When I started talking to people, like when I went to the first year, we went in like President's Club, and we're like, I had to buy suits. Like I didn't have like nice suits, so I went to the President's Club, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. They're paying for us for a week stay in Orlando and blah blah blah, and this nice hotel. I'm like, oh shit, I've never been treated like this, and people are calling you for bonus checks to come work for them, and I'm like, what is this? I'm just doing loans, and yeah, it didn't hit me until I started talking to other loan officers across the country. Like, oh, how'd you do? I'm like, oh, I did like 18.2. What? And what do you mean? Like, it didn't clue in to maybe like a year and a half later, to tell you the truth. I was like, this is kind of fun. I'm making money.
Dude, I mean, and that's one of those things like, so you were kind of lucky in the sense that, you had good mentorship right off the bat. Right? You walked into a situation where somebody was telling you this is what you do. You had a situation where if you had a problem, you had veterans behind you supporting you.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, it's what's crazy is, and they probably watch the podcast later and call me out. So these guys, no joke. I remember. So Todd Duncan's like a big guy in the real estate and the mortgage side for like coaching and things like that. And these guys were like the legit, like on the panels, right? So I'm having beers with these guys, and then I go to one of his events, and they're like on the panels for like Legends of Mortgage. Like my buddy Joel, I swear to God, he was the guy that did like the first DUs, like in Washington, running it from his shop, doing the first electronic DUs to underwrite loans. The 50 loans a month, like these guys were crushing. And I just had great mentorship. I got lucky. I had no. I mean, imagine coming out of like, I don't know, the Dominican Republic, and then landing on a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, totally different. No, it's funny. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Mike Cuevas and Sam Karanian from Big Block Realty. And they were talking about the importance of having like being on a mastermind team or surrounding yourself with people who are doing really well. I mean, you were in a position where it just kind of fell in your lap. You got lucky, but people who aren't at that level, you're a testament of when you surround yourself with people who are crushing it, people who aspire to great things, that you elevate yourself just by being around those people. I mean, how much time were you spending with these guys on a daily basis?
Well, here's the funny thing. So when I first got in the business, I'll kind of rewind. So my first 3 months, and my best friend was a lender at the time, and we came back from a lunch meeting, and the doors were locked. Like the doors were straight up locked. And they closed the office down, and I had just started like maybe 3 months before, right?
Like the company? The
company, yeah. And they had gotten bought out by another company. And I'm completely new to all this stuff, right? Yeah. I had actually clients coming to meet me, and there was like chains on the door, like legit chains on the door in Mission Valley. And so in the meanwhile, we show up to their corporate meetings and stuff, and we're thinking like, what's going on? And we didn't even know we weren't even invited to the party, right? And so no joke. So we're now my branch manager, right? My branch manager at the time, she's trying to solicit us to get picked up by another company. So we're meeting like with Wells Fargo and other lenders, National City, and different guys, right? And we're hearing their pitch of like why we should go work for their company. And we went to go meet with these guys. My buddy Barron walks in. Actually, I was supposed to have cigars with him today. And he walks in. This guy's in a nice suit, nice matching shoes with his belt, Gators, Rolex, super clean. I mean, guy looks like a Ralph Lauren model, right? And I'm looking at my buddy Dave. I'm like, dude, we're gonna work with these motherfuckers right here. Like these guys, I'm gonna be like that dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We went down and met with some other people, and every one of the guys was like that. Old school mortgage banker, straight, clean, and crisp. And I didn't care what anybody was offering on bonuses. They didn't offer us any bonus. They didn't offer us the most comp, nothing. It was pure. I was like, these guys are killers.
Dude, so, I mean, a lot of people say first impressions are everything.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I mean, a corporate name, a corporate brand didn't mean anything. You saw a vision of yourself. And you were I'm
aligning myself with these guys.
That's what I want.
These guys are trained killers. I'm with them.
I'm with
them. Let's go.
Well, I mean, tell me, how much of that is military brought, right? I mean,
combination
in the military,
of both. Yeah, combination of both.
I've never been in the military, but I mean, my experience in military is only what I see in movies, right? But what I see is in like sports too. It's on the team who you follow. Right, there's people who are put in a power in a leadership position, and there's people who are born leaders, and you tend to follow the people who are the born leaders, the people who are doing. And I think that's what if I'm hearing you right, you're looking at all these different quote unquote professionals, and then you see the dudes who are like doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think my first book that I really read in business was Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill.
And they gave it to me like as an assignment, like, hey, you're gonna come work with us. I need you to read this book. So I took a trip to the Bay Area, bought the CDs, and literally listened the whole way up and the whole way back. And I was like, man, this is it. And it's like, the 5 people you surround yourself with is who you're going to become.
Yeah.
And so, that was the whole mantra. I'm like, my friends are all where I came from.
They're all crisp. The new ones, right?
The new ones the old ones weren't doing that great. They were kind of just getting by in life because nobody really teaches you that stuff. And I just saw an opportunity that someone can actually, I can be influenced by people that can actually teach me things, and they were actually happy to show me. They considered me a bro, so I was all good.
Yeah, well, I'm super impressed. I mean, you're one of those people I look up to when I see the status that you're at and the things that you're doing. I look up to you, and when I met you, I mean, I could literally ask you anything, and you were like an open book. You were willing to share any part of your business, any part of your aspect, just because I'd ask, right? And that's something that a lot of people don't understand about people who have made certain success levels, is that they're willing to be. They're not monsters. They're not, ripping people off. They're not doing anything wrong. You're out there just helping people. You're just helping people at a high level, and you're willing to help other people do that too.
Yeah.
Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, it reciprocates.
Yeah, it
literally,
does.
It just reciprocates. So, I'm learning in life that love is endless, right? And how you love people it doesn't matter. Guy, girl, people work for you, your bosses. As long as you pour into people, it eventually at some point comes back.
Yeah.
So, little side story here. Today we had our Friday team meeting like we do every week, and it was exciting. We got a lot of really cool stuff going on the insurance side of our business. But my partner in crime, she's there with me in the office every day. Her name is Heather, and after the meeting was done, like, I stopped the recording and everything, and I told her, Heather, I love you. I said, you know why? Because you love all of these agents just like I do, and like, they feel it. We feel it, and it's really just a team, family mentality, and what you're talking about, it resonates.
It resonates. And I think part of that is, it doesn't come with transparency, but courage takes transparency. I've had plenty of failures, let me tell you. I'll tell you what they are, what they were, and just so somebody else doesn't have to make that same failure.
Yeah, share one with me real quick.
Failure.
Yeah.
How bad?
You tell me. How bad you want to be?
Physical,
horrible?
mental. I mean, how do you feel? I could tell you one today. I mean, I'm losing an escrow today on a transaction that I could probably make $100,000 on. Pretty straightforward. And we didn't have our financing pieces in a row. My partners weren't ready to go. One's going on vacation. Another guy's looking at it like, I'm not sure. Pencils out all freaking day long. And, sometimes you lose. It's like ripping a check. I mean, I look at when you lose a loan, you cut a check up $3,000, $4,000, or you lose a deal even as an agent. But when you're developing properties on the side, and that's like, there's not a lot of hard work, but $100,000 opportunity, that kind of pissed you off, Happy birthday. I'm here hanging out with you guys. Whatever. I don't care.
Dude, but
something else will come up. It's all good.
But see, that mentality of right there, what you just said right there, you know what? Something else is going to come around the corner. Dude, $100,000, some people is a year's worth of, 2 years worth of work. I mean, you look at the median household income in San Diego, it's like $65,000 for a household. I mean, that one deal is somebody's livelihood. but it's
kind of funny when you think about it.
It's
right?
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's because, again, it comes back to who you surround yourself with, right?
Mhm.
You know, $1,000 might mean something to somebody, and it might mean nothing to somebody else. You know, $100,000 in your world, I'm sure if you go back to right before you bought that first duplex, $100,000 probably meant way more than it does today.
Yeah.
Right. But you've surrounded yourself with people who, you know, they don't think in thousands. They don't think in 100,000s. I don't know if they think in millions or they think in billions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But it's just a mindset.
It is a mindset, to tell you the truth. It's actually kind of ironic because this morning I was sitting down with a good friend of mine, and he has a great restaurant over in Little Italy, Cloak and Pedal, good friend of mine, Caesar. And I was breaking down some numbers for him just to kind of, because he, you know, wants to kind of diversify some funds and whatnot. So I'm like, hey, bro, let me show you. And he was on a conference call, with some of my guys, my investor buddies, and we're okay, I'm gonna put $1 million, you put $1 million, you put $1 million. Okay, we have $3 million, we got $5 million on the credit line. Okay, we got $8 million. What do we think we're gonna deploy on this? Okay, let's pull this strategy, blah blah blah. And I kind of sat back for a second. I'm like, dang, when you start talking about mills, like, you know what I mean? I'm just this strategy from the east side. Like, I'm like, okay, bro, like,
Yeah,
alrighty, but you know, and it's important when you strategize with your partners like that, you know, you have to stay humble, man. So if you don't stay humble and you get your ego in the way, I've been there. You start avoiding the signs that things are not right. You start thinking that you're better than the market. You start thinking that you're better than the game. Like, you know, no matter when I roll my dice, I'm always gonna hit 7.
So give me an example, like what types of signs do you look for in investment where you know you're going downhill? I mean, there's some times where you're going downhill, but you plan for, you know, there's a curve, right? You're planning an initial investment. There's a time frame for this investment for it to start showing a return. How do you know you back out or something like that?
Man, I'll tell you, probably one of the best analogies I was told was that an appreciating market hides everything.
That's a great analogy because it does.
It hides everything. So it's like musical chairs, right? With real estate, and it's all location oriented and things like that. We saw what happened when interest rates went up, how it affected the market. Market sentiment changed in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. So that $3 million house you guys saw, right? That market sentiment changed quick last summer, like in a heartbeat, because they're different type of investors. And you have other people that are entry level, still buying South Bay. At that same time, I had 3 houses that we sold across the street from the mall, from Chula Vista Mall. Quick, subdivided the lots, sold 3 houses out, boom, boom, made good $750 on them, done, right? That market, they sold quick, like in a week. So I have one that's sitting, spending, I can't tell you how many thousands a month in that place, versus others, it's just different market times, right? Mm. And so when the markets are appreciating, not every market's the same. Not every location's the same. El Centro works different than San Diego. San Diego is different than LA. Bay Area is different, you know? I came from Northern California. San Jose, average sales price right now is like $1.1 million.
And they're not beautiful homes.
No. Mm-mm. No, they're not. It's like living in Claremont, you know? So a lot of that stuff is really relative. And that's like when you make mistakes and you don't know certain market conditions and you think you know, and, you know, it's like playing Monopoly. You're the first guy that buys Baltimore, right?
Yeah. We just got to buy them up and see what happens.
Just buy as many as you can.
And then sometimes you land on Boardwalk and you're screwed.
And then that dude buys a hotel and you land there and you're like,
damn it,
why
right?
buy Baltimore, right? I got to pay the piper now. But yeah, I mean, so it's a lot of learning lessons like that, and you can't learn it all. But when you sit down with guys that have been doing it for long periods of time, and you start hearing their methodology, I think another thing that I learned on really early on is a good question. Is if you were me, what would you do differently?
And that's what you're asking your investor buddies.
That's what I asked them. I'm like, hey, bro, you know, that's me, humble pie. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. If you were me, what would you have done different?
That's a great question, but you're gonna get that response of, you know, there's 2 ways to take it. One is a constructive criticism. One is you're an idiot. So how do you take it? You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference in the mentality of somebody who's being successful at it and somebody who is ego about it. Because if you let your ego get in the way, you're never going to ask that question. You're never going to know what anybody else's opinion is.
Yeah,
I think that's valuable because you never know what mistake I made. if I'm one of your investors that I can share with you so you don't step in the same hole.
If you guys ever go to my office, I actually have a baseball in my office from Pete Rose. Okay, I got this baseball. It's probably been, goddamn, it's probably been about 15 years now. Okay, so I was with Pete Rose, and I have the same watch on. So I was in Vegas with my buddies, SEMA convention, and we're walking along. We saw Pete Rose walking too. He does like ball signings at the time. He was broke, and I was like, oh shit, that's Charlie Hustle. So we ran over to Pete Rose. I'm like, what's up, Brian? Hey, dude, you're my fucking favorite baseball player of all time. So we started chatting it up, and he has like a gold Breitling, right? And I'm like, I got a silver one, blah, blah, blah. That come with a car, you know? And he's like, come on, guys, come. I'll sign you guys a ball. You guys want a ball, a jersey? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. Yeah. Hell yeah. And so I'm sitting there with Pete Rose, right? And he's sitting next to me. He's like, what do you want to put on the ball? And I asked him that question.
If you were me,
what would you have done differently? And he says, I wish I never bet on baseball.
Wow.
And he put it on my ball.
I wish I never bet on baseball.
And this is 4 years before he even admitted to it in his book. How crazy is that? I have pictures with it and everything. It's still in my office.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But that's one of those, again, another fact of life. People make mistakes. And they can either, they're detrimental to them, but they can be very, massive learning experiences. This is a wisdom type thing right here.
Yeah.
Right? What do we say? Smart people learn from their mistakes. Geniuses learn from the mistakes of others.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? That's a genius question.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world in everything you do.
Yeah. So that's, I think, working with the guys that I worked with, that's a lot of things that we started understanding was, constantly living the question. Being in the question all the time, because you're either motivated by pleasure or by pain. Take your pick.
Absolutely.
Right? Take your pick.
Something's gonna light a fire under your butt.
Something's gonna happen. So when you're lukewarm is when everything gets jacked. At least be driving in some direction.
Dude, deep stuff, man. Deep stuff.
That's it.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what life is like for you now. Now that ducks are in a row. Now that things are kind of moving in the right direction. Is it all fun and games? Like, is it just nothing but good times, or
God, no,
what's it like up there?
Like where in my head?
Well, in your reality,
in my reality, I wish I could spend more time with my kids. I wish I could be a better family man. I wish that I probably would have played smarter. You start getting rep into so much business, and you just get used to it, like running a marathon every day, just running, and you can lose sight of your priorities. That's the truth, Hindsight, sometimes I see my friends that work at PG&E or SDG&E out here, and just 9-to-5 job, but yet are super freaking happy. And sometimes, the things that you grow up thinking, and that's the funny thing. You grow up thinking that labels and all this material possessions what makes you happy. It's not what makes you happy. It's not. So that's kind of like the ironic thing now going forward. I can go buy a Ferrari tomorrow. It's not a big deal. I got my Shelby. It's on my car.
Yeah, I saw it at the house. Beautiful car, by the way.
I burned the shit out of that clutch all day. But you start realizing, like, what is this for? Put my kids through college. We got to take more vacations. I was doing a retreat the other day, and they were saying for us to write down our story as if we're 90 years old to our great grandkids. And I was like, what were you thankful for? What would you accomplish? What'd you do? And things like that. And I sat there and I was like, holy shit. I chase after the wrong things.
That's deep. And it's amazing to hear it from where you're at, because I've done that where I didn't write from when I was 90. I wrote it as if I'm in the casket. What do I want to tell the people that are at my funeral? Like writing my eulogy.
What do they say about you?
Right. Well, what did I accomplish? What is the story of my life?
Yeah.
At this point, who did I help? What did I achieve? Whose dreams did I help? It's one of those realizations. Like, I'm hoping that there's 10,000 people or more at my funeral means I've made an impact. Right? I've helped that many people achieve something in their lives or change their lives in some way. And, to hear it at your level where you're like, okay, well, money, that's not a problem I have right now. But time, relationships. You hear it from, I hear from like Gary Vee all the time. He says the same exact thing. He's like, I know people who make millions of dollars and are unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people who make, $42,000 a year and are happy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Happiness.
It's all relative, man. It's all relative. It's funny because that's why I thought back and I was looking at like the military and during some of those times, and I'm like, you think you're hungry? I had my sister the other day. She's like, oh my God, I'm so starving. I'm like, the human body can live without food for 21 days.
You're
right?
not starving.
You're not starving. Try 7. Try eating bark. Right? Grubworms. That sucks. You're not that hungry. So it's also relative. And then you think of somebody like in San Diego goes to, I don't know, how's it snowing over there in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Like,
We're complaining because it's cold.
Yeah. It's like 65 this morning. I'm like, God damn, I got my sweater, my leather jacket on. What kind of bullshit is this?
And you're getting car on the heater, no problem.
Exactly.
It's all chilly this morning, and the people from Minnesota are on the beach in Coronado.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Vacationing here.
Dying. Ooh, sunburn. Turn them over.
Turn them over.
Oh,
dude.
man. How we doing?
We're good.
All right. So, hey, man, dude, really appreciate you coming on the show today and, being open and vulnerable and helping us, see the world through your eyes. Because, everybody's journey is different. And again, like I said at the beginning, our hope is that when people hear your show, they see the light through, or they see the world through your eyes, and hopefully they get a different aspiration. Maybe they're on the same path and they're like, you help them shift their priorities and spend more time at home and spend, maybe, take a little bit of different path. Maybe it's not all about the dollar amount. Maybe it's more about the time, whatever it is that somebody else gets out of it. I appreciate it because, you took the time to be here.
Oh man, it's so important. I can't even tell you. And I think especially at a young age, we get so used to, like in 20s and 30s, that you're trying to make your career, trying to make something for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And we start losing sight of that. That becomes our number one objective and priority. And we forget that the reason why we wake up every day is to maybe feed our kids or, put bread on the table and enjoy the bread with them and turn off our cell phones. God, that's my biggest thing right now. Just being so stuck on the cell phones, everything that's going on all the time, and being connected, being present.
Mm-hmm. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, all of it. So.
Oh.
Well, that's actually Rodrigo yesterday. That's what he was talking about. Also, was the cell phones is like the most disrespectful thing when you're having a conversation with somebody. You can't take your eyes away from your phone.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Kids at the dinner table, all that. Yeah.
You know what's amazing today? That how the loss of the ability to maintain eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Swear to God.
Because you're so addicted to going.
Like, or they just can't. They're just like, this feels awkward. I can't look at you in the eyes. It's just, but it's true though. And that's like you think about being plugged in. That's where as humans we're plugged in, and that's unfortunately we have our rocket mortgage and all this electronic ways of trying to get loans nowadays. And that human interaction is where people really want to feel comfortable. They want to feel trust.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's where I think the guys that are really crushing it, they just stay authentic.
For sure.
So whatever you do in life, just freaking try and be as authentic as you can be.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot one more time.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be good to have on our podcast? Share a good story.
Ooh, share a good story. I'll tell you right now, probably my good friend Caesar.
Caesar?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have you make the introduction.
Okay.
See if we can get him on the show.
I'll see him in a few hours. But yeah.
Perfect. He's gonna party it up and be like, "Dude, I met these dudes."
He's like, no, he's a super good guy, super good guy, humble guy, but and he's one of the people I think that's really taught me a lot about getting back to your core, getting back to your center, and he has the restaurant now. It's blowing up, and he takes his dad to the gym with him, and buys his mom flowers, and
he
really
made the time.
He's really, he's like in the last 6 months. He's just really going out of his way to really be thankful for his family and all the things that we're doing, and the group that we're around. That we were, you surround yourself with good people like that, right? And I was sitting next to Dominic Cruz. You guys know Dominic Cruz? Mm-mm. He's like the most winning MMA featherweight fighter. Like
I know.
Yeah. So I'm with Caesar. We're having a shitty day, And we was talking about, we got to do this and that. And the guy sitting next to me having tacos. And he's like, "Oh, you better go. And Caesar goes, "You know who that guy is?" And he's like, "You ever watch Fox News? You never watch like blah, blah, blah?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, that's, I'm like, "How's your taco?" You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy though. I'm not saying that because of that, but I'm just saying that because the mentality is the same. Mm-hmm. People that want to do good things in life, that direction, and you start hearing it like with Joe Rogan, and it just starts resonating over and over and over, and you just get to a different wavelength, and that's why I think it's important. Absolutely.
Yeah, and by the way, I completely understand the whole eye contact thing.
Yeah,
because it's one of those key things that this podcast and interviewing people has really helped me out. I think, and that's probably one of my greatest secrets is I peer into your soul. When we have this conversation, you know what I mean? Because that's me plugging into your story.
Right.
So, I love that you pointed that out because that is a big thing. I talk to kids all the time. I talk to, adults all the time, and not everybody can keep that conversation going. It to me, it's one of those things where when I'm looking at you and I can see your eyes, I'm listening to your words. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not just hearing you, I'm listening to everything that you're saying. Mm-hmm. And I think, that's where the genuineness comes in when you're talking to clients.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. As soon as it starts becoming transactional,
it's over.
That's your ego.
That's it.
Out the way.
All right. Well, if you want, we can give you a minute here to tell the audience how to get in touch with you, the best way to get in touch with you, how you can be of service to them, etc. You can talk to the camera right here. Let them know.
Oh, shoot. I mean, I do everything top to bottom, so I'll tell you, probably my best forte is when I get new loan officers, when I get new guys that are coming from other companies that are struggling, that just need to have a ground and pound basic foundation of how to build their business all day, every day. That's it.
Perfect. So LOs out there that are struggling, you know where to go.
That's it.
Here's your guy. All right. Well, before we end the show, really quickly, big shout outs. We got Osvaldo Calderon Ayala. He said, "What up, Anthony?"
What's up, Ozzy?
All right. Yuritsa, Eddie, Angelica, David Mercado, John Lassiter, Sierra Molina, Anna Aguirre, Rosa Aguirre, Sylvia Vasquez, Simi Flores, Daniel Moreno, Ray Jones, Energy, Brian Landeros, Ollie Amirkis, and of course, as always,
Mom. Thanks, guys, for being on the program. We appreciate you guys listening. And Anthony, again, thanks for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and happy birthday. Go have a blast, man.
I'll have a shot for both of you.
Perfect. We'll hold you to it. Take a picture, send it to us.
I probably will. Don't mind if it's a mixed drink.
No, okay. It's all right. All right. I'm good with that. Long Island, think of me.
Oh, dude. Long Island with mezcal.
Ooh.
Trouble.
Yeah, change it up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. If you want to get on the show or you have somebody who you think would be a good guest, I was going to say host, that's me, a good guest, hernan@csfirst.com or 619-884-4915. You can hit up James for all your real estate needs, james@csfirst.com, or his number is
insurance.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. See, it's a Friday already.
It's Friday.
All right. For all your insurance needs, james@csfirst.com, 619-884-0045, or follow us on social media @BusinessBrosPod. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I'm out. Thanks again, Facebook. We love you guys.
Thanks, Face Good.
See, it's Friday, man.
It's Friday. It's definitely
We shouldn't
Friday.
have had those whiskey shots.
Bye, MySpace.
Bye, MySpace.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool, man. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Thanks, dude. For real.